Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365. Our last Football Friday before potential big changes are coming to the Philadelphia Eagles. We will see what happens next week. Today's episode brought to you by the great people at Fritz Bianculli Law Firm. Give Brian Fritz a call. Tell him JAKIB Sports sent you. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Football Friday? As we have some fun things to talk about today. After some more news in the NFL yesterday and a lot of things on the horizon, J-Mac.
Yeah, it's almost here and it's coming. It's already coming fast and furious. Just moments ago, the Rams and Cam Curl have agreed to a 3-year, $36 million deal. So he'll stay with the Rams. So there's your safety market. I don't think that Reed Blankenship will reach that level.
Me neither, right? I actually think that
a little bit under.
Global pop. Cam's a better player than Reed, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Certainly coming off last season. So 3 years, $36 million. Tyler Biadasz also signed with the Chargers over the Bears. He went to visit the Bears, then he went to visit the Chargers. Signed with the Chargers. I think he got $10 million a year. And then Danielle Hunter keeps moving. It's like a cyborg, I was saying before the show went on the air. Yeah. $40 million getting the extra year tacked on at his age. That's sort of how they do it now. 30, I believe, 30 over 30 fully guaranteed. So, yeah, stuff is happening.
No doubt about it. Some big moves happening there. John, can you explain this to me real quick? Just for the people listening, I got this question yesterday, and I figured I'd open it up for you to explain. With free agency starting next week, what does it mean when a player like Tyler Biadasz, or however you say his name, Biadasz, he signs early? Like someone said to me, I thought free agency was next week. How can he sign with a new team now? I'm like, I'll ask John that on the show tomorrow and get his explanation for how that happens. Explain that, John, because I do think it confuses people when they hear, well, free agency is next week, and then you have a free agent signing with the team. How's that work?
Yeah, he got released. So anybody who gets released, they're free game right away. Okay. Whereas everybody who's an unrestricted free agent, they have an expiring contract on Wednesday, Tuesday, really. So you have to wait till then till officially make the deal. So anybody like Jalen Phillips, his contract doesn't expire. So that's why he can't sign early. Tyler Biadasz was released, surprisingly so, by the Commanders. Didn't necessarily get that one. So he's free to sign anywhere. And he did early. Sometimes you do it if you're going to move on from a veteran player. Sometimes you just do it as a favor to give them a head start on the market. Not sure if that's what happened there, but he had a lot of interest. Chicago was trying to get on him right away because Drew Dahlman retired.
Yeah. And that's a big hit for Chicago, Drew Dahlman retiring. He really had a good year.
Yeah. Well, you look in the same division, the lines weren't the same without Frank Ragnow.
Yep.
And they have a veteran quarterback who understands protections and all that kind of stuff, where Caleb Williams, a lot of great stuff last year for Caleb Williams, but he's still an emerging young quarterback who needs help. And now you don't have a big-time center. Yeah, that's one to keep an eye on because the Bears, and you can say bring in a rookie, but then you have a young quarterback with a rookie center. That's not going to be Drew Dahlman or Frank Ragnow.
Right. I wonder if the Bears will try and make a big move for Linderbaum.
Possibly. Yeah. A lot of people are in that conversation, Linderbaum. So
yeah, I would imagine that he was a good player. I'm surprised the Ravens didn't re-sign him. John, as you mentioned at the start of the show, fast and furious here. So we had two deals right as we started here with Cam Curl and Danielle Hunter, who came, I think, late last night. The Danielle Hunter move hit the 1-year extension. Those are very relevant to the Eagles, obviously, because of Reed Blankenship, who's a safety, and Jalen Phillips, who's an edge rusher. Also very relevant, J-Mac, How about Lane Johnson tweeting out
Yeah, how about
a
that?
little eye emoji for Maxx Crosby, putting that on the radar. And then also the DJ Moore trade, I think, has great relevance to the Eagles just in terms of, the A.J. Brown asking price and the trade saga there. Let's start with Lane Johnson, John. Could Maxx Crosby end up a Philadelphia Eagle, J-Mac?
Well, anything's possible, obviously. The Eagles are going to have to do some things to get it done. I mean, not only from the standpoint of giving up assets, obviously you've heard what the Raiders are asking for him, like a Parsons-like deal. I don't think they're going to get that, but I do know Dallas is heavily in on it, and they kind of balked at that. So you might have this arms race between the Cowboys and the Eagles going on. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know what to tell you about it. I hate when players do that. Yeah, it's like what are you trying to do? But
little social media recruiting. I don't know, John. I'll say this, and maybe I'm a tinfoil hat guy sometimes. What
are you doing? But you know what?
I don't get the timing.
What are you doing with what does that mean? What does that mean to Jalen Phillips?
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah. So I don't like it, but whatever. It's part of the world, the new age. I'm sure the Eagles don't like it. If they are trying to get him, they don't want it out there because they don't want, then if they're trying to get him, I've said, reported they budgeted heavy for that position. Maybe that's what was being alluded to, but you don't want that out there because what if you don't get it done and then you got to go back to Jalen Phillips? It just doesn't help. So from that standpoint, I'm sure the Eagles wish it would go away. Certainly from a reporter standpoint, when Lane does that, it's great because people get interested and all that kind of stuff. But look, they would have to create cap space. They would have to obviously send significant draft capital, maybe a 1 plus a 2, who knows, maybe a player, who knows how high it goes. And maybe they're willing to do that. I've never gotten that feeling. Like I knew they were willing to do that with Micah. I knew they were willing to do that with Miles, something like that. Maybe he's in that same category.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten that same feeling from them, but that, like I've said in the past, they don't play the Raiders much. The Raiders haven't been very good for a long time. They're not that relevant in the league, so there's no reason to talk about them, or there hasn't been any reason to talk about them. And the other part is, the Raiders are now loaded with ex-Eagles executives. So I think that plays into it as well because, John Spytek, the GM, worked under Howie. It was a long time ago, but still, was talking about him at the combine and what he means to him. Brandon Hunt just left. Anthony Patch just left the Eagles to go there last year. So a lot of familiarity, trust. So maybe that plays into it. But they're going to have to move around some things if they trade for Maxx Crosby.
And what do you think they would have to move if they did it? I mean, how about this? A.J. Brown and a 3 for Maxx. Does that get it? That doesn't get it done, does it?
No. Well, remember, remember where they are.
Well, they're drafting a rookie quarterback. I mean, hey, what better way to help Fernando Mendoza than A.J. Brown?
Yeah, well, that's true. But is AJ happy with that situation?
How much more can we placate to AJ Brown's feelings and emotions? I mean, we're running a football team here, John. I don't give a shit if AJ Brown's happy about it.
That's fair. I mean, if you just want to go, but I don't know if the Raiders are in the position to do that. I think they understand what it means to have. And again, it works both ways with that familiarity. So Brandon Hunt knows what was going on here. Anthony Patch knows what's going on here. They probably know, look, AJ's not going to be that happy as he continues to struggle.
Yeah, that's
and nothing against Mendoza, but all rookie quarterbacks tend to struggle. So Yeah, I don't know. I think they want draft capital and significant draft capital.
And I don't know. I mean, that's heavy to do. What do you think it would realistically take? Because the Raiders can live in La La Land all they want, and they can set their bar because it's part of negotiating. That's how you go, right? You start high, but Maxx Crosby is not worth what Micah Parsons was traded for, and it's
I
not.
agree.
I mean, Micah Parsons is younger. He's better. He's more productive. I mean, come on. I don't think that's in the same arena, but I do think Max is a damn good player. So where do you think the truth lies on what it would take to get Maxx Crosby?
Well, I think definitely you got to give up your one. And remember, the Eagles, despite what people think, the Eagles are a good team. So they're starting at 23. They're not starting at 13. So it's not as valuable as a top tier pick. So I think you start with a 1 and a 2, or at least a 1 and a conditional 2.
Got to go future
a
2.
3
Right?
that
You don't want to have yeah.
A 3 that can become a 2, something like that.
Future though, right? Not this year. I mean, they're not going to give up.
You can't do the conditions this year. So yeah, it would have to be future. But yeah, I mean, and maybe a player, maybe you throw in a player, a lesser player, maybe a Sidney Brown type. Well, if you want to go, I don't know if you'd have to go as heavy as Nolan Smith if you're giving away a first round pick. I would hope, but they are asking for pie in the sky. Look, the Nolan Smith stuff, I don't think is relevant. Like the Eagles want him for this year. Then down the road, they got to make it difficult.
Yeah, but if he's what you need to get the deal done, if they did want Maxx Crosby, I don't even know if they do, but if they did,
yeah, I mean, yeah, if it were, boy, I just don't, I don't. I'm not. I don't.
You're not sold on the Maxx Crosby move at all. Yeah,
I don't like the fit. I don't like how much he's played. I say the tread off the tire. The guy never leaves the field. He's been playing for a bad football team.
Isn't that also a feather in the cap, though? I mean, look, you're thinking of paying Jalen Phillips 25, 26 million, and he's got 2, season-ending injuries. Max really doesn't get hurt much. It doesn't miss a lot of football games. Has played a lot, to your point, but he's uber productive. The injury concerns don't really exist all that much. I get it, the tread, but there's more than one ways to look at that, right?
Well, I think it's good when you have the guy and you say, "Wow, look at this guy," and I think it's bad when you project the guy down the road.
It makes sense.
I mean, I'm projecting down the road. Like there was already, a pretty significant drop off last year, at least from his typical standards. And I'm not talking about numbers; I'm talking about film. So, is that just frustration like we talk about AJ here? But maybe crappy team, awful situation. Maybe, and maybe he's reinvigorated with a contender. But I'm not giving away I'm not giving away all that for Maxx Crosby. I'm just not. Micah, yeah.
Well, how much does the Jalen Phillips deal change after that Danielle Hunter? I don't think too much because I do think they're different. But it's an edge rusher,
It's getting above Spotrac numbers.
Yeah, that's Spotrac. I wonder. Yeah, I'd like to check.
I think it's Spotrac,
but I don't know what the heck it is. I say a different name every time.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm going to check that.
He's getting higher than I don't know. 17.9 million. He's getting higher than I'm going over.
Yeah, you said that early. That's true. He's gonna be way over that.
Yeah. But just from like what people talking about AJ and trading and getting traded and DJ Moore getting the second round pick, which helped out the Eagles if they want to trade him. Which this is the dumbest conversation. I'm sorry, Howie. This is a dumb conversation. We don't want to trade him, but we're going to listen to every call under the sun.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that's why I liked what you said yesterday. I mean, you actually, in a way, it was kind of a report where you're like, that's not really what's happening, and they're really listening to offers. That's different than the normal posturing of, well, we take every call. I'm a GM. That's the job we do. No, you're shopping them.
Well, and I don't even know if shopping is the right way, but you're considering trading him,
right?
Is what I would say. And maybe it doesn't work because, and that's, the DJ Moore trade's only going to embolden Howie. You get a second round pick for DJ Moore.
Yeah, we're gonna get there in a second.
Yeah, but that's a shit show from Brandon Bean, who should have been fired once before Sean McDermott was fired. Yeah. I mean, that has been a freaking disaster. And now he's giving away second round picks for a descending receiver because DJ was good. DJ's a Philly guy. He's been a good player for a long time, but let's be honest, he fell behind Luther Burden in Chicago.
Yeah.
A rookie receiver. And he was going to be the third receiver there, and they can't pay him wide receiver one money, obviously. So what is Chicago going to do? Hold on to him? I don't think so. And they're getting, boy, Brandon Bean is having a bad offseason.
That was a bad deal. But wait, real quick before we get to that, because we're going there, because there's obviously big relevance to that with A.J. Brown and the trade market for wide receivers. We're going to get there in a second. Sticking on Maxx and Jalen Phillips, John, I know you're out on Maxx, but let me frame it to you like this.
Not out.
No, I get it. It feels rich to you for what you're getting back, and when you have Jalen Phillips. Well, this is how I would view it if you're Howie, I guess. If Jalen Phillips is going to get $26, $27 million, which is starting to look more and more and more likely, if he's going to get $27 million, do you want to just pay the premium to go and get Crosby? I mean, that's rich for Jalen. I like Jalen Phillips.
But just think about what that premium is. Like, how he kind of shook off the third round pick because obviously he's trying to, downplay it. But they already gave up a third round pick to get Jalen Phillips to begin with. So now on top of it, let's say one in a conditional 3, just for argument's sake, you're giving away your first round pick this year, maybe a second round pick in 2027, and a player like Nolan Smith. What the fuck? Would I rather have Jalen Phillips at 27? And oh, by the way, Maxx Crosby makes $35.5 million and probably will want more because Danielle Hunter just got 40.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, no, yeah. Will I pay that premium for Myles Garrett? Yes. Will I pay that premium for Micah Parsons? Yes. Will I pay that premium? That's where I draw. That's my demarcation. That's it. That's those two. And yeah, Trey Hendrickson, no. I'm not picking. Maxx Crosby is a very good player. I'm not picking on him. No, I'm not doing it. Danielle Hunter, no. Too old. Maybe Will Anderson.
Maybe. There you go. I like Will Anderson. I'm happy you said him. But no, I agree with you. I mean, well, where are you then on Phillips? I mean, are you almost getting to a point if it doesn't matter what Phillips gets to, you got to get the deal done?
That's a more interesting question because the idea of a walkaway number, it's like if your walkaway number is 28, well, what the fuck is the difference between 28 and 29? So this mentality, and the Eagles have these walkaway numbers, and everybody does. It's not just the Eagles. That I kind of push back on. I'm like, well, if the market says, if your walkaway number is 28 and the market says 29, you're really going to walk away from that guy? I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, if your walkaway number is 20, and which I don't know for a fact, but I'm thinking it was in that range for Milton. It might have even been a little bit lower, and he gets 26. Then it's way out of whack. You got to go. Obviously, you got to walk. You got to walk away. But Yeah, I kind of push back more on the walkaway numbers than, well, if we're paying this guy 28, why can't we pay this guy 35 and a half, plus also waste a third round pick, plus also waste a first round pick, plus also give them Nolan Smith, plus also give them a conditional premium pick the next year.
Yeah, but John, here, let me give you the other. All right, let me say this, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but Howie's a smart guy. At least I view him as a smart guy. He's smart enough. No, I'm not saying he is perfect, but I'm saying he's smart, and he's smart enough to look at the team right now and know that we're not indestructible. We're not. Our Super Bowl window doesn't stay open forever. Our running back, we maybe have 1 or 2 years left with him. If we keep AJ Brown, we maybe have 1 or 2 years left with him. Vic Fangio, we have maybe 1 year left, maybe 2 if you're really lucky. Same thing with Lane Johnson. Jalen Hurts is at 28 years old. What type of window do you have with him as a dual threat quarterback? I mean, your offensive line looks like they're 35 and half of them are 27. I think Howie's looking at the team and says, if we want to go and compete for a Super Bowl this year, I'm going to have to make a significant move to prop that window open. Now, if he thinks the window's already shut or some of those guys can't be fixed or the offensive line or any of those things, well, then maybe he lets it shut. But if you're Howie and you think that window's expiring or closing or getting smaller, don't you think making the splash is the right move to try and prop it back open?
Well, everything's about evaluation. So if they make that type of move, what they're telling you is Maxx Crosby is that type of player. I don't have the same evaluation. So they could be right. I could be wrong. But it better work for all that. And the positive, if you want to say the positive, he is out there every play. He has been durable. He has been productive with no help, basically, and now he's going to have a shitload of help. So in theory, that would make him even better. So there's some avenues where you could say, for all those people who say, I never say I'm wrong all the time. They might be right and I might be wrong. I'm saying, me personally, I don't look at him the same way I look at Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett and Will Anderson. Those are the 3 guys. Everybody else, and it's not an insult, Aiden Hutchinson, Hunter, Trey Hendrickson, how productive has that guy been? Everybody else, even Jared Verse, a young player, he's great, but he's not those guys. Everybody else doesn't reach that bar for me. So if you start talking about Micah Parsons level get back, which again, I don't think they'll get that from anybody, but if that's what we're talking about, yeah, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. But that doesn't mean the Eagles are wrong for going there if they want to go there. And maybe playing with Jalen Carter helps him and makes him a better player.
Yeah, I think that would be true. I think it would be a 2-way street too. I think it'd help Jalen and Jordan.
So, there's ways to evaluate it in a positive way. But it's a big matzo ball out there.
Do you think Vic Fangio would like Maxx Crosby?
Well, that's another thing. It doesn't seem like a fit, but when we all talk about Vic wanting the more well-rounded edge player, he has worked with pass rushers before, and they've been tremendously successful. So he'll utilize what he has.
Is Matt's that one trick? I mean, John, I haven't watched enough of
Raiders. I'm not saying he's one trick. He's a good player. He's got a shitload of tackles for loss, but he's not TFLs. He's not. His obviously his strength is he's a natural pass rusher. That's his strength. He's a pass rusher. And he's a closer. and he's the guy on 3rd and 10 that's going to get home. That's him. You're not looking at him to be the well-rounded 3-down guys who people are bored by anyway. So, I when we were talking about AJ yesterday, I'm like, my comparison is everybody loves the home run hitter in baseball, obviously. They don't like the 5-tool guy. Luckily, was who was and to be fair, the home run hitter is usually more relevant. And like he gets a bunch of tackles for losses. So, those are splashy plays, just like sacks. But so if you compare it back to the glory days of the Phillies, Ryan Howard was the MVP and the home run hitter, and guy.
Jimmy Rollins was probably your 5-tool.
Yeah, or Chase.
Chase. Yep, Chase would be good too.
Are they better all around players? Yes, they are. But who's more important? And that's what Maxx does. Maxx is a sack guy. He's a tackle for loss guy. And that's going to get you paid $35.5 million. And that's going to stand out in the fans' eye. I just, but people say that about Micah, though. Oh, he can't play the run. Yes, he can. So can Maxx. But it's not what they're out there for. So, they're focused on what they're out there for.
Reminds me of AJ Brown blocking.
And, ironically, his if you use PFF, his run defense grade was better than his pass rush grade last year. Now, that was last year when he, wasn't at his height. His height was 2021, 2022, 2023, where he was 2nd of 110, 4th of 119, 4th of 112. 3 phenomenal seasons in a row. But already you've seen a little bit of drop off. And my assertion there is that, well, he plays 1,000 fucking snaps a season. So yeah, he's going to wear it down.
And only 7 years. I mean, it's not, he's still got, I think your point is good about how many snaps he's played, but he's not 30. Yeah, I think he's 28, right? He'll be 29, I think, this summer.
Well, that's a rotational position. Like for everybody in this league, except Maxx. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But that's a rotational position. So the only guys and Maxx missed a couple games. So Maxx was how many games did he play last year?
Last year he played 15.
He played 15. So he missed 2 games and he was 4th. He was 935. So if 60 snaps a game, he'd be number 1. Number 1 was Jared Verse. He's very young, 1,026. He would have been number 1 again if he played all 17 games. But there's very few guys who play that much. Hutchinson does. Ironically, Byron Young does, because both of the Rams edge defenders, and that's something to keep an eye on, but they're both young. Josh Hines-Allen was over 900 in Jacksonville. Montez Sweat was right at 900. That's it. 6 guys in the entire league. 6 guys. And he's been doing it for 5-6 years.
Yeah. It's one of those things that can catch you too, catch you quick. And I think, is part of your thought process on this slanted to some extent because of Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I just came off it with Jalen Carter and what it did to him. And Will Anderson's a guy, maybe the best edge player in football last year, but besides Miles, 779. But there's a big difference between 779 and 1,000 every year. and I say it with Vic all the time. Vic doesn't do a lot of stuff wrong, but I think he's got to be more disciplined with Jalen Carter's reps, and take him off the field a little bit more to preserve him. But we went through this for years with Fletcher Cox. I say it all the time. Every year, Jim Schwartz would say, we gotta be more cognizant of giving him a breather here and there. And then you get in the game and you're trying to win a game and you don't want to take Fletcher Cox off the field.
Right.
So it's not easy, but I don't know. It's something that concerns me. Obviously, it doesn't concern a lot of people. But and Jalen Phillips played a lot. Jalen Phillips was right behind Montez Sweat, 871.
A lot of snaps for Jalen Phillips. John, two last questions here on this. For the Crosby move, I know it's rich for you, which I think you've explained your point well here on Birds 365. If the Eagles did make the move, realistically, what do you think that deal would look like? Give us your projected trade for what it would look like if the Eagles made the move.
23 overall this year. Conditional 3 that can become a 2 next year. That'll probably hit, so it will become a 2 because it'll be tied to playing time or sacks.
Right.
And then you try to get away with a lesser player, but you might have to give up. And in that case, it's good you brought up Nolan Smith because you probably have to give up Jalix Hunt or Nolan Smith. I think if the Raiders are smart and they know the Eagles, I think they'll push for Jalix Hunt.
No, I'm not giving up Jalix Hunt.
So it's going to take a lot. And that's, I focused on how much he plays, which is a concern. But much more of a concern is, again, you already gave up a 3rd-round pick to get Jalen Phillips, and no matter what Howie says, and we know what he said. And now you're giving up a 1, a probable 2, and a potential big-time player as well. Yeah, I'm not going near that. Plus, he's getting $10 million more and will probably want more. I'm not going near that.
Yeah, well, we will see. All right, John, and my last question here on this topic, just for now, we'll probably revisit it a little bit later in the show where it will come back up, I'm sure. How has this changed or altered all this talk on edges, Danielle Hunter getting 40, all the movement on edges, and really the limited options available to teams that need edge rushers? Has this moved what the walkaway number is for Jalen Phillips in your eyes? And I know you can't speak for what it is for the Eagles. How could you know that? But what would it be for you? I mean, early in the summer, I think you were, or earlier in the offseason, I think you were more, 24, 25-ish. I don't want to speak for you. Somewhere in that range.
I'm still kicking it. I'm still keeping it at 25 because, I don't think there's that big of a difference between Jalen Phillips and Maxx Crosby. And I don't think there's that big of a difference between guys like Kwity Paye and Adofi Owad than Jalen Phillips. So if I can go a little bit cheaper and get one of those guys. Now, I know the Chargers are hell-bent on keeping the Penn State kid. So, he might not even be there when free agency starts. So, you have to have all these ducks lined up, and obviously Howie knows where he is. But I'm not going above 25 because I think you can get production in a different way. But I'm certainly, to me, if the Eagles pull off a trade for Maxx Crosby, it's telling you that he's a legit superstar. Like he's a legit superstar in the same category as Mike and Miles. And I don't believe that. So that's the only reason I'm out. If he's that type of player, if they're right on the evaluation, yeah, do whatever you have to do.
I got Miles, I got a tick down, and I got Micah. I got another tick down, and I got Crosby and maybe Will. I think Will Anderson's probably in between Micah and Maxx, and then I got everybody else.
Yeah, I'm Will's 3 for me.
He is really turning into a freaking beast, that guy, Will Anderson.
And then, I think it's everybody else. I think Crosby's in the same conversation as Hutchinson, is very good. All these people are very good. Hunter, who's just got 40 million. Verse, who I think is awesome. So I think he's right in that category. Hendrickson, if he's still healthy, but who knows where Hendrickson. But previous Trey Hendrickson, he's right in that category, which is tremendously good. But it's not the top 3, in my opinion.
Fair enough. We will see what ends up happening with Jalen Phillips, with Maxx Crosby. Lane Johnson stirred the pot yesterday with a little tweet adding Maxx Crosby, put the little eye emojis. Everybody's all riled up. How many views did that tweet get? John, I was wondering, did the Eagles put him up to this, John? I mean, right before, as they're negotiating with Jalen Phillips, your captain and your longtime future Hall of Fame Eagle is tweeting at Maxx Crosby. Is that posturing for Jalen Phillips? Is it giving him leverage? What is going on here? 3.6 million views on the Lane Johnson tweet to Maxx Crosby.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good strategy if if you're about to pull it off, because there was a lot of buzz going around that something might happen soon with Maxx. And maybe that's why Lane did it. I don't know, but I don't think it helps the Eagles unless they were unless the deal was done. And he's saying, googly eyes, watch what's going to happen. Otherwise, I don't think it helps.
Yeah, well, we'll see what ends up happening. All right, John, next topic here today. Spent a lot of time there on Crosby. I do think it's relevant to the conversation, especially with Phillips looming. A lot of deals came down in the NFL yesterday, John, even as well this morning, and we've talked about him, Danielle Hunter, Cam Curl. Also yesterday, DJ Moore traded from the Bears to the Buffalo Bills, as you pointed out in the open. Not a great trade for the Buffalo Bills, but at the end of the day, they are trying to get better. So the compensation seemed rich, but did they get better? I think so. I think the relevance of the deal, John, is that was a lot to send for DJ Moore. And if you're Howie Roseman, I think you're excited about that, my friend. I think you're looking and you're like, my Quinnen Williams type ask for A.J. Brown all of a sudden looks pretty good, sounds pretty good, and sounds pretty realistic. What do you make of the DJ Moore trade and how it affects the Eagles and A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I don't think it affects people nearly as much as they're making it. A lot of people, I saw a lot of people making it out like, well, this means, well, that doesn't mean every other general manager has to be as dumb as Brandon Beane.
But there are others that are dumb, right?
Yeah, there are, and you're trying to prey on the Jeff Carsons of the world from Draft Day, the movie. But you're trying to find the fish, as Nick Sirianni will say. You're always trying to find the fish. Well, the fish you found the fish. He's in Buffalo. Now, are you going to find 30 fishes? No. That's why I don't agree with the standard of, well, Buffalo gave DJ got a second round pick for DJ Moore, gave up a second round pick for it. So that means everybody else has to give up this for AJ Brown. It doesn't work that way. Like, that's a bad trade. You will see universal condemnation of that being a bad trade for the Buffalo Bills. And he might turn out to be a very good player. They need help. But just they didn't have to do what they did. And in the next sense, they'll say, and this means that AJ Brown will get, it doesn't correlate to me. Like, you can't say this is awful and then say, but That means Howie can get more for A.J. Brown. And by the way, if Howie doesn't want to trade A.J. Brown, who cares? There's a lot of hypocrisy out there. If he's not trading him, he's not trading him, which that's why I don't believe what's going on here with we're just passively taking calls. We're just passively allowing Jimmy Sexton to go around everybody and say, hey, what do you think about getting AJ? Give me a break. Come on, Howie.
You don't think though this deal does set a precedent? I mean, I know Bean looks dumb here, but
well, then why would it set a precedent? I'll ask you. I'll turn it back on you.
There's not only one
dumb. So that sets a precedent for the smart people?
Well, no, but it might set a, what's the opposite of a walkaway number for Howie Roseman in the trade market? His walkaway number for AJ. I'll just keep him. He's under contract.
Then just keep him.
Yeah, but if there's a desperate team that wants a wide receiver to the point that the Bills wanted one. All right, well, hey, New England, you guys had a nice run to the Super Bowl. You now have decided to get rid of Stephon Diggs. If you guys want to settle for a draft wideout, by all means. Or if you want to solidify your team and get A.J. Brown, this is what it's going to cost. If you want to go gamble in the draft, go for it. I don't care. I'll keep A.J.
Well, I always thought, the going back and forth, they had the 31st pick. I think they would have always traded the 31st pick for A.J. Brown. If that could be done. It's the 31st pick. So if something like that happens, I think, well, see, they got a first round pick. Oh yeah, they got the 31st pick in the first round. Because the Patriots made the Super Bowl. You already saw the Rams give up whatever, 20, wherever they were, 28, 29.
Yeah, and then they re-signed Cam Curl. That's looking like a good team right now.
Yeah, looking like a very good team, Liz early. But you knew that. I mean, as long as Matthew Stafford's playing at that level, they're going to be a very good team. So, I never thought, obviously, Howie's got the one ridiculous posture, and they had the other ridiculous posture, third round pick. You're not getting them for a third round pick. That's stupid.
No.
So they both started from an unserious position, to use their word, up there, and then you move forward if you want to move them. If you don't want to move them, hey, stop taking calls.
Well, yeah, people. I don't like the word unserious for the Eagles. I mean, I get that's what was used, but it's not unserious because Howie's going to take a bath on this deal, right? I mean, you're going to take a bath on the money. You've already put out the spot rack guy who put out the financials for the Eagles if they trade A.J. Brown. I mean, they're not good. You're not going to get equal value return for the player. It's a lose for Howie. So why do it unless you're going to wow me? Well, no, you got to go get a good receiver somewhere else if you're not going to wow me. And I think Howie has a leg to stand on there because, I think
you're only trading A.J. Brown for one reason. If he doesn't want to be here, because every other reason
doesn't want to be here.
No, I'm saying the only reason you're trading him, the only reason you're even entertaining it because of the cap ramifications is he doesn't want to be here. That's it. That's the only reason. It's not about what you get back. It's not about anything else other than he doesn't want to be here. I'm not saying he doesn't want to be. I'm saying that's the only reason
to do it.
The cap ramifications stay the same if you get the first round pick and you get a second round pick.
Yeah, but it's easier to stomach that pain if I get a significant asset.
Not from a business standpoint. It doesn't change it at all. It doesn't change it at all. This is not the time to trade A.J. Brown unless you have to trade A.J. Brown. And the only way you have to trade A.J. Brown is if he doesn't want to be here by come hell or high water. And again, let me emphasize this. I'm not saying that's the case. So I don't know what all this rigmarole's about, if he wants to be here or if he's okay with being here.
Well, what information do you have around that?
My information is how the Eagles are acting. Like,
Yeah,
why? Why
AJ Brown hasn't,
you do not talk about big time, high level players at this stage of their contracts for the business perspective of it. Period. End of sentence. It doesn't have to go any farther than that. Everybody wants to take it farther than that. If there weren't other issues, you don't even discuss trading AJ Brown at this point. Because it doesn't make any sense from a business perspective, from a cap perspective.
Well, so then why is there so much smoke?
Why? Because either the Eagles are fed up with it or he's fed up with it. That's it.
Is the smoke real or is it media created?
Oh, it's real from his frustration standpoint. The question is it to the point where it's broken? It's not media created. Everybody in this league, I've said, and I shouldn't use everybody, but I keep using everybody. The vast majority of people in this league think the Eagles are moving AJ Brown. The vast majority of people outside of Philadelphia. Why? Because they're used to, hey, when this happens with diva wide receivers, and I don't think AJ's a diva wide receiver, that's the demonstrated history. You got to move on. You got to go. You got to do it. So that's why everybody thinks the Eagles are moving. Now, from the Eagles standpoint, they say, well, we'll take calls, blah, blah, which, I evolved to that standard. That's bullshit. Because again, give me one other example of at this stage of a big time player, you have one of the best players certainly in this era of Eagles football, which by the way is the best era of Eagles football, arguably the best player on the team for at least 2 or 3 of those years. Best pure football player on the team. Give me another example of somebody shopping somebody with the cap ramifications of AJ Brown in the middle of their contract. That doesn't involve that they completely want out. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for a reason. So that part of it, you don't even have to go past that period. Everybody wants to go past that period, but you don't have to. It wouldn't exist. If they were happy as a lark and AJ was, hey, I'm fine, being a secondary and it wasn't upset, and they wouldn't be asking, they wouldn't be taking calls. Oh, let me get blown by somebody calls up. No, they'd be like, what are you talking about? We're not trading AJ Brown. It's absurd on the surface.
I agree.
But God bless how he sold people on that. God bless him. It's not his job to take every single call. You think he was taking calls? Hey, Saquon Barkley had 2,504 yards and won the Super Bowl. Somebody called up. Oh, let me take that call. No, he gave him extra money and he didn't have to. It's not how business is done. Yeah, there are very few untouchable players, because if you want to live in the world of, well, you never know if Brandon Beane's going to come up and offer you 4 first-round picks for Jalen Hurts. Well, yeah, duh. I live in the real world.
Nah, don't over embellish. They gave a 2 for DJ Moore.
Well, I'm obviously they have Josh Allen too. They're not calling about Jalen Hurts, but my point is to the Howie part of it. He's not taking calls, on these players who are entrenched. Like it's just part of doing. Oh yeah, I'll listen. Come on, anybody buying that?
No. I'm not buying it at all. That's why I think there's real smoke, and so I wonder what it's going to what the end result will be here. So where's your meter? We've been gauging it all summer. Where is it? 53-47 still? 51-49 was the latest?
I think he's going to be here. I'm at 55-45. He's going to be here.
Whoa, that's your biggest switch yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the time to trade him.
That's a 6-point swing in the polls. That would be considered a drastic swing, J-Mac.
It's not the time to trade him. So if he's willing to come back, you bring him back.
Yeah.
And maybe, and then, if it goes this way again, then maybe you trade him at the trade deadline. Maybe you obviously kick the can down the road to the next offseason, and you definitely move him at that point. But yeah, it's not necessarily the end of it for all time. But if he's willing to come back and he's not going to be completely unhappy, then you got to keep him. Just from the business perspective.
Well, how much of this will be added to the AJ Brown saga next year if they do keep him? I mean, if anybody
if he's
headlines,
if he creates headlines, he's frustrated again.
Yeah,
he's out next year.
Come on, let's not deny reality. This is where, John.
They could be.
If they keep AJ Brown, what is I just asked your percentage on keeping. If they keep him, what's the percentage that AJ Brown creates headlines next year?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
But
100%.
It might be good headlines. Sean Mannion's the greatest offensive coordinator since Bill Walsh headlines.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well,
that's a lot less likely that AJ Brown is pissed off for the fourth year in a row.
I agree. Plus, the other part of this, which I don't know if enough people are talking about, the Eagles are only taking calls from AFC teams. Like, they're not the Cowboys. They're not stupid.
Yeah, right. They're not going to send him to a contender.
Well, they'll send him to a contender in the AFC. But
yeah, I meant to say, yeah.
Yeah. So, that limits your pool and Buffalo was one of them. And that's the team you probably could have taken advantage of. So now you're down to, and really all I've heard is New England and Baltimore. That's it. So if that's it, and you're going to hold the line, yeah, I probably should be higher than 55.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest switch you've had yet. I'm wondering if something has changed to get you to that point.
But yeah, I heard they're only taking calls from AFC teams, and one of the AFC teams just dropped out.
Yeah, right. That's significant change. Fair enough. All right, Johnny Mac, good conversation here in hour number 1. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here today. We have an exciting week ahead. Okay, Monday at noon Eastern time, we'll kick off the legal negotiating period, widely referred to, much to John's chagrin, as the legal tampering period. That kicks off on Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesday is the official start of the new league year, which means the deals will fly in fast and furious at that time, and you'll start to really hear about them after noon on Monday when that negotiating period opens. And for anybody who's been paying attention, quite a bit of moves have already come down for teams getting new players signed, even some trades. There's been quite a bit of things happening already in the NFL to prepare for that 2026-2027 NFL season that is coming up next. Johnny Mac, let's get to some super chats here today. Here's Bravo Zulu 6. I like that name, Bravo Zulu 6. That's a military name if I've ever heard one. I used to like a brand, Bravo, called, what the hell is it called? Zero Foxtrot. This name reminds me of that. He says, Eagles will have serious issues with Maxx going to Dallas. He can play the pass and the run, and he's relentless. That guy plays possessed.
He's definitely relentless. I mean, that's common with all great pass rushers. They have the high motor. all of them. That's one thing they have in common. Yeah, you don't want them in Dallas, definitely. So that could create an arms race, like I said earlier in the show. You don't want Micah Parsons in Dallas either, but they had him for a bunch of years, and the Eagles did fine. They'll figure it out. You got to spend a lot of time thinking about it, as Nick would often say with Micah, but they had a better pass rusher and they let him go. So they'll be fine.
Yeah, but they didn't have the tackles when they had Micah. Yeah, I think technically the Dallas line would be better. I'm not saying Maxx is better than Micah, but is Maxx with Quinn Williams and Kenny Clark and Osa better than what Micah had with him on that D line?
Well, I mean, stages probably when they left. Yeah, when he left. Yeah, but I mean, earlier in his career, they were really talented up front. So, depends on stages. Remember Mike was drafted to be an all-ball linebacker. And only because of injuries to DeMarcus Lawrence. Remember, they had DeMarcus Lawrence. So no, I maybe when he left, yeah, they were struggling to find some defensive tackles. So, but they were one of the most talented teams in football there for a while.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye on Dallas. I mean, I think that team actually has a chance to be all right next year. I know Eagles fans are not going to like hearing me say that, but that's just the reality. I mean, they had the number one defense or offense in football last year. They've retained all of that talent, and the defense, while they did not have a good year, if they deploy their draft capitals, let's say to go get Maxx Crosby, let's say to draft a good safety or something like that, or a good cornerback. I mean, that could be a decent team next year. I mean, that could be a team that would be fighting with the Eagles for the NFC East.
Yeah, I mean, they've a lot of ability on offense. They got to get their offensive line right. It's not, at their height, they had a great offensive line as well.
It's gotten better though. Last year wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's gotten better. Wasn't not, but when Zach Martin was there.
Yeah, well, obviously. They got like the three Tylers up there, don't they? They got a bunch of Tylers.
Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith is big time.
Yeah,
he's one of the strongest players in the league. But yeah, they'll be better, and they'll be better defensively because Matt Eberflus. By the way, that guy. Come on, San Francisco name. Speaking of titles, we got a new title. We should do that as a segment of the show. New titles. Assistant head coach of the defense.
I saw that, man. What the hell does that even mean?
That means similar to we'll get a new title when Gerard Johnson, when they give him a title. You're just creating a position for the guy. And look, that Dallas defense was brutal last season. So, I think the world is caught up to Matt Eberflus's style of defense, and Christian Parker being there is probably going to help their defense just shifting it around.
Yeah, especially the secondary.
So, we'll see a lot of hype about Nakobe Dean going there. Who knows? Maybe you get back-to-back and get Reed as well. So, yeah, Cowboys are one to keep an eye on. And they certainly wouldn't mind hurting the Eagles by signing some of their players.
No, I already got Pumper crying about me in the chat. John, they hate when I'm honest about the cow. Look, Zander's daily glaze of the cow. Like I daily glaze the Cowgirls. But Pumper, they are a solid squad. I mean, they had good offense last year, and if they use all their assets to go and get defenders, I don't know what you're looking at. That's a good defensive line, and they got Christian Parker added. I mean, if they signed Nakobe Dean, let's just say they signed Nakobe Dean, they trade for Maxx Crosby, and they draft a safety or draft that Dylan Thieneman kid or whoever they might draft in the secondary. Well, I got news. That's probably going to be a pretty good defense, pretty good team.
I would have kept Micah.
I know you would have. I would have too. Understood. All right, let's go to our next super chat. Again from Bravo. Bravo, thank you, man. Appreciate your support today. He says this, John, you're completely wrong. Parsons can't play the run for shit. He's a liability on the run game. Maxx Crosby's a beast. Pat Mahomes will be celebrating. It's like the British are coming. The British are coming. The British are coming. He's repeating himself here.
Okay, yeah, Micah stinks. Yeah, he's terrible. Yeah, you're right. Bravo Zulo 6. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Talk to people in the NFL.
Well, this is my question for Bravo. Do you not think Micah Parsons is a good player? Because the entire NFL world was ready to send an arm and a leg to get him on their team, and then also pay him $46 million on top of that. So, I don't know, Bravo. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. That sounds like a pretty good player to me.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, I heard the same thing about Aaron Donald because he was so good as a pass rusher. Oh, good. And then they one clip scouting, which I love, and they take the one clip where they're out of a gap or something. Now they are human beings, but yeah, Micah's pretty good. As
Yeah, agreed. Bravo, thanks for the super, brother. I appreciate it, man.
I wish people could hear Nick Sirianni, and they don't like Nick Sirianni, but I wish they could hear.
I like Nick Sirianni.
Howie Roseman.
Call me the Sirianni Glazer.
Oh, they like Howie now. They didn't. Yeah. I wish they could hear Howie Roseman talk about Micah Parsons. Nick Sirianni talk about Micah Parsons.
All right, here's
tune might change.
It's true. Here's Mr. Hill. What's up, Mr. Hill? I think Howie should hold his cards unless he gets a 1 and a 2 for AJ. Tell AJ be a pro and play ball. We will talk in 27. Only it was that easy, Mr. Hill.
No, I would not pick up the phone. How about that? Because I'm still taking the business hit. I don't want the 31st pick for AJ Brown. I don't give a shit about the 31st pick.
I'm with you.
Well, I'm not picking up the phone.
That's why I also got to take. I threw him in the Crosby trade because
I also got to take $40 million in dead money, and I got to go into Jeffrey Lurie's office and hey, we're gonna take this hit, and we're gonna by the way, we're gonna lose $20 million on the cap. Yeah, I'm not trading him.
$40 million that you shelled out is now going to be used for the team in LA or for the team in Vegas. Yeah, that's not a good meeting you want to have with your boss. Here's Pumper. What's up, Pump? There he is. Let me guess. He's crying again about the Cowboy comment. Here's Brian Pump. He says, I can't take that team seriously. Jared Jones was caught on video admitting to scouting prospects based on their trouser size. Embarrassing. I do remember that. That was a weird. Was that like leaked or something? I forget what happened there. I don't know. I didn't pay much attention.
Well, look, that's what I joked about. People like, well, Christian Parker's going to tell Jerry Jones to do whatever. No, he's not. No, he's freaking not.
No, but Christian Parker's going to get the most out of the players they do have.
Yeah, maybe. But for all the people that say, well, they're going to sign this guy, Christian Parker's going to bring this guy over. Christian Parker, no, he's not. He doesn't even listen to Will McClay. He's not going to listen to Christian Parker.
Right.
Jerry Jones is so out of touch, he might not know Christian Parker's name. That's the best thing you have going for as an Eagles fan. Like Jerry gets involved, and Steven's got to talk him out of basically all the bad decisions. Yeah, he's great for our buddy John Machota down there and all the Cowboys beat. He's phenomenal. He talks after every game, says stupid shit like that.
Easiest team to cover, man.
Yeah. But, for making football decisions, yeah, not great.
No doubt about it. All right, Pump. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat. Not really something I wanted to read this morning on the show, but I did read it. All right. Thank you for being here. All right, Johnny Mac. Now, free agency, the legal negotiating period kicks off Monday. Look at me. You've ingrained into my brain. It's called the legal negotiating period. John, you've won. You've won me. You've won me over here. It's no longer.
It's not. I mean, everybody can go onto the NFL operations. They have a website. Everybody can go to it, and they have what's called a key date section, and you can read what it is. Look, because everybody's wrong doesn't mean you have to play into it.
That's true. That's true.
The description, is you're allowed to negotiate from March 9th to March 11th. I'll read it to you. During the period beginning at noon on March 9th and ending at 3:59:59 on March 11th, clubs are permitted to contact and enter into contract negotiations with the certified agents of players who will become unrestricted free agents upon the expiration of their 2025 player contracts at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on March 12th. Permitted. Tampering is not permitted. It is the legal negotiation period. No matter how many idiots say something else.
God, I was just telling you, you won me over. Come on, man.
No, well, I'm not picking on. I'm picking on all the other people, like my former host, who I love to death. I love Jody. People know that, but he'd be like, "Well, who started? I don't know who started. Who cares?"
You and Jody used to have some good debates. Good stuff. All right. We get a little closer to that. That kicks off on Monday, as John just said. I like how they put the actual second that it ends, 3:59 and 59 seconds on March 11th Eastern Time there. So we will see what ends up happening, John. A lot going on in Eagle Land. I'm going to gauge your overall thought right now on what's at stake for the Eagles right now. They've been a very good team, John, the last 4 or 5 years. They've been a bona fide Super Bowl contender in each of those years. I like what you say. You normally say there's normally 4 or 5, at most 6 teams a year that are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. That's different than being a good team or a great team. There's a different look there. The Eagles have been a part of that, John, for the last 4 years. How close are they to that? Or how close are, I guess more importantly, how close are they to falling off of that if they don't make the right moves here? Because I think we all, we joking back and forth about A.J. Brown, a lot of conversation there. Okay, bring A.J. Brown back. What's at stake for the Eagles in this offseason? I mean, could the window slam shut if they don't make the right moves? If Jalen Phillips walks out the door? If A.J. Brown gets traded for the 31st overall pick and you don't get a player back, could that door slam shut? Where is this Eagles team right now in your mind?
Yeah, there's more uncertainty. I think, the floor is lower than it typically has been over the past 3-4 years. But, the ceiling's still there as well. So they have the framework to be a contender, legitimate contender. And they just got to make right decisions. And if you trade A.J. Brown, well, you better have a contingency plan, I think the trade market is something that they'll explore more than usual because of some of the cap restraints. So maybe you bring in players from other cities. If you lose Jalen Phillips, you better have something in the hopper, whether it's trading for Maxx Crosby or signing somebody else. You better have something in the hopper because you don't want to go into it as you did last season, which, I said it was very hard to believe they went into last season with the edge rushing room the way it looked, and they didn't want to go into it that way, but they were forced to go into it that way, as proven by what they did to try to get out of it. Chasing after Micah Parsons, chasing and getting Jalen Phillips. Now they have to make, have to make smart decisions there. You need a bunch of bounce back years from guys who had down years, Lane Johnson for injury purposes. I'm not even going to bring up Jordan Mailata because he was so good in 2024, but I think he was damn good in 2025. But all the rest of the offensive linemen, Saquon Barkley, that's what I think, Sean Mannion, the best thing he's got going for him is that these guys are going to be very focused on bouncing back from poor seasons by their own standards. Regardless of scheme or what they do new, I think they're just going to play better. a lot of those guys because they're going to be focused. They know they had down seasons. So I think that's going to help Sean Mannion. But then you bring up the coaching as a whole, and it's like, well, that could go in a negative direction. Could go in a positive direction, but it could go in a very negative direction. There's not a lot of examples of guys with that little experience taking over any offense, never mind an offense in a city like Philadelphia. Can you imagine if they struggle over the first month of the season? Can you imagine what the narratives are going to be?
That's what I mean. What if they struggle? What if AJ Brown's pissed off? And what if they end up having to trade AJ Brown at the deadline for a 3?
Well, at least it's better from a cap standpoint. That's what I'll say. But I don't think you'll get to the point where it's not like.
Would it be better from a cap standpoint?
Well, yeah. I mean, it'd be better after June 1st if you can wait till June 1st.
Yeah, but can't they make a move and designate it to June 1st right now?
No, well, everything accelerates. So you can't the difference between contracts and trades, the contracts can be, if you're just cutting a player, then you could spread it over 2 seasons and you only have 2 post June 1st moves. A trade, it accelerates. Whenever you make the trade, everything accelerates. So it doesn't help you to split it over 2 seasons. So everything gets lopped on. So, but the problem is if you wait past June 1st, the problem is everybody's already budgeted. Everybody's already used their assets to build their rosters. So you don't have as much leverage. That's what the Eagles are dealing with. So you're going to get more value right now up to the draft. You can take it up to the draft. You're going to get more value right now than you are post June 1st. Otherwise, they just wait for post June 1st and they actually gain. Let me look it up. They would gain $7 million in cap space. But, everybody's already, Buffalo, look at Buffalo. They already traded for DJ Moore. If New England doesn't get AJ Brown now, they're going to have to go get somebody else or trade for somebody else, or they're going to have to draft a receiver. They're going to already allocate to what they're going to do. It makes it much more difficult. And then you start the cycle again next offseason, where if he's unhappy this offseason, then I think no doubt about it, he's gone, because it's easier to do. You still take on, 2026. You still take on a significant dead money hit, $27 million, but you only lose $4 million in cap space if you wait till next offseason. This offseason, those numbers are $43.449 million dead money, lose 20, just over 20.055 of cap space. That's the fucking problem. That's the problem. And that's why none of it makes sense. Even taking calls. Unless somebody sped up. And it could be AJ or it could be the Eagles. But the idea that Howie Roseman's just taking calls to take calls.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, I feel like sometimes we act like AJ wasn't unhappy. He was.
He was fucking unhappy. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, that's why I asked you, though. I mean, I agree the Eagles are going to lose the freaking trade, which is what I've been saying for a while. I don't think they're going to do it because I don't think Howie Roseman, period. I think it might be his ego. He doesn't want to lose a damn trade. He doesn't like losing trades, and I can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
Is it more damage to keep the player if he's going to be as miserable as he's been?
Well, yeah, that's the only reason. That's the only reason you get rid of it. That's addition by subtraction. In other words, he's so miserable, he's going to affect the team, and you think that's the only reason you trade him. I've been saying that for months. That's the only reason at this stage you trade him. Again, next year it's more palatable. Next year, all the other conversations that everybody has now is more relevant. Now I think it's about, look, if he's happy, if the Eagles are not unhappy, you're not taking calls. You're just not. But God bless Howie. He everybody's bought into that bullshit. You know, you don't trade players that good when you're taking 43 million of dead money and 20 million of cap space when you don't have a lot of cap space. You don't trade players like that until it becomes more palatable, unless they are so unhappy or you're so unhappy that there's no other avenue, like Carson Wentz. That's the only recent example. You know, the Eagles wanted to move forward for one more season, give it one more try. And Carson just said, no, he's not doing it. And at that point, they had to cut bait. And it worked out. Maybe this will work out. But it's not, you know, there's nothing past that. They're not just sitting and wow me. And by the way, wow me for Jalen Carter and wow me for any other great player, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata. Like Howie's taking, hey, wow me over Jordan Mailata. Maybe I'll give him up for 2 first-round picks. He's not having those calls. Nobody's calling because everybody knows he's not trading them. People are calling because they think they're trading them. Doesn't mean they're right, but that's what they think.
We'll see what ends up happening. John, who are the Eagles going to add? Forget who's leaving. Who are the Eagles going to add next week?
Maybe nobody. Well, certainly, I don't think, other than, you know, their own, which people don't consider adding. I don't think they'll sign anybody during the tampering period. There, I broke my own rule for everybody. During the legal negotiation.
Oh man, John.
Yeah, well, everybody says it. So sometimes you slip. But yeah, I don't think they'll sign any outside players. And they'll, you know, the second wave, they'll start signing people. But yeah, they don't. It's a retention. Howie's on record. You know, thankfully he did it this year. He went on record.
So what? All right. So what happens when some dumb team pays Jalen Phillips $28 million and he leaves, and then that retention off season, and Reed Blankenship gets $11 million and he's gone, and Nakobe Dean ends up in Dow. What now? What now? What's happening with the retention off season? That's another crock of shit from Howie. It sounds like.
Well, I don't think it's a crock of shit because
it's a crock of shit if they don't get him done.
Well, you know, from every indication, they want to re-sign Jalen Phillips. Now, then this Maxx Crosby shit came up, which would excite people more, obviously. Every indication says they want to re-sign Jalen Phillips. Reed's 50-50 as well, depending on the contract. Kobe's probably gone. Dallas is more interesting than I thought, but I'm still leaning towards him being gone. And then, yeah, if things go off kilter, you have to respond. But those are, you know, probably be a day into the new league year. You know, they'll be working on, again, top priority Jalen Phillips, and then down from there. But they don't have a ton of cap space. So, you know, if they make a splash, like if they, you know, trade for Maxx Crosby, it's not even signing. Then you have to do something else to fit them in. So you're almost going to have to send a good player or a relatively good player just to create the kind of space that it would take to keep Maxx Crosby. And I'm sure they'll redo the contract and probably pay him more than he makes now. So, you know, everything and Howie was honest about that. Everything they do splash wise means they have to do something else to create space to do something splash wise. Not that they won't do something. He loves making splashes.
With a limited free agency, how easy is that to do? All right. Okay. Everybody's gone. Now we got to.
And by the way, yeah, I mean, this free agency class stinks to begin with. And that's not coming from Howie. That's coming from just about everybody around the league. It's not a good class. And you see the smart teams like Cam Curl. Well, he's a pretty good safety. Well, they get him done before free agency. And he's not great, but he's pretty good. You know, guys are keeping their own guys. So you're going to start talking about, you know, middle range players. You know, Daniel Jones at quarterback, $37.83 million under the transition tag. You know, everybody there, I saw somebody put out their top 100 free agents, and Jalen Phillips is up to 2. Number 2 was either The Athletic or ESPN. Number 2. Now, I like Jalen Phillips, and evidently I like him more than most Eagles fans, but typically you have better players than that. Not this year. Not this year. Now, there's some bigger names like Hendrickson, which I think he was 1, but he's 32 years old. Khalil Mack is going to the Hall of Fame, but he's 35 years old. Hassan Reddick, our old buddy, I don't think he's coming back, but he's 32 years old. Joey Bosa's 31.
He a free agent, Joey Bosa?
Yeah. But he'll never come to. No. Not that they'd want him. So, you know,
I think he's a little overrated, Joey Bosa.
Well, Nick's definitely the better of the Bosas, but he was
that's not close.
He was very good in his prime.
Yeah, Joey was, but Nick has been a machine.
Yeah, Nick's the better Bosa, no doubt.
Where do you put healthy Nick Bosa in the? We had the edge rusher combo earlier. 1, 2, 3.
I don't even think he'd be a consideration. I literally think he hates Philadelphia.
No, I'm not talking about coming to Philly, John. I'm talking about just where you put Nick Bosa as a talent.
Oh,
we did like the great, you know.
If you're a contender that needs a natural pass rusher, 1 year, he's a 1 year guy at this point.
Not Joey, John. I'm asking Nick.
Oh, Nick.
Like, where do you? I'm not asking about a new team. I'm asking you have Miles.
Yeah, he's in the second. He's in the Crosby category.
All right, that's kind of where I have him too. I didn't know where
I was in the Joey mode.
Yeah,
he was. He said, yeah, he's very good. He's a very good player. Nick Bosa. Now, I think he only played a month last season, something like that.
Yeah, he got hurt bad. What did he tear his ACL?
I don't know. But yeah, he missed most of the season. Yeah, he played 3 games. Yeah, tore his ACL.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So he missed 3 games. So you got that coming back as well. You know, his height was 2022 when he had 18.5 sacks. He had 15.5 sacks a year prior to that. And he's kind of been on the descent since, injury-wise. You know, that like moves fast, man. But at his prime, in his prime, he was big time.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. I am now thinking I do not like this method that the Eagles have put out to publicly reveal that it is a retention offseason. Because now what? What happens if what happens if the Cowboys want to just spite the Eagles? What happens if other teams just sign all their guys? What happens if all the dumb teams in the leagues make it impossible for the Eagles to live out that retention offseason? What if Jalen Phillips gets 28 and Reed's gone and Nakobe's gone? Well, what's your contingency? There's not that good of a contingency. The free agency is not good. You've been saying it for a month.
Well, yeah, but you can find player like, safety. Let's talk about safety. So,
yeah, that's less Let's talk about edge if Jalen Phillips doesn't sign.
Well, if you get Maxx Crosby, I think everybody's happy.
Well, there you
judging
go.
by well, if that's your one thing I will tell you, Howie has contingencies. I mean, that's what he does best.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to worry about that. So I mean, but I would say, putting out there public, look, Howie probably learns from his flagship radio station. You can say something one day and say something completely different the next day, and everybody fucking forgets it. So who cares? He's just trying to prepare people who want, and it's partly his own doing, that's the Eagles' reputation. So they're always expecting splash, splash, splash. And they're not going to see that right away. So, he's preparing them for that. Whether it works or not is something different. Right. But that's all he's doing. He wants to try to control the, message as much as he possibly can. But he's telling the truth. It's, he's not in a position to make what people consider big splashes.
Yeah, it just feels to me like that can all go to shit quick. I mean, not even by their own doing. I mean, if your goal is retention and other dumb teams, I mean, you would think if it was a retention offseason that some of these guys who are about to hit free agency would have already been signed. I mean, there are teams signing their guys right now. The Eagles did it with Zach Bond last year. They haven't been able to get any of them done. That it's a two-way street. It might not be only the Eagles doing, but that would it's harder to have a retention offseason than they implied.
I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, if you're Cam Curl, you probably just gave up some money. Maybe he likes Los Angeles. Maybe he likes it there. A lot of people like Southern California. Probably doesn't like the taxes, but there's a million different reasons why. But generally, the guys who sign before the market hits are either very happy in the situation they're in and willing to give a little bit of a hometown discount, or are mid-range players. Higbee signed. The Rams signed a couple players. Higbee re-signed. But at this stage in his age and injury history was, I don't know, $5 million a year. So he's not going to break the bank. Even though I think he's a pretty good player. I've always liked Tyler Higbee, but yeah, I mean, they're in a position where Jalen Phillips can get life-changing money. Reed Blankenship, I think people don't realize an undrafted guy he's made like, I don't know, $4 million in his entire career, which, hey, I'll take, but for an NFL player, that's not. He might get $10 million a year. He's having a kid, yada yada yada.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it goes. Taxes. I mean, he's walking with 1.6, and in the world we live in today, that's not as much as it once was. J-Mac.
No. So Nakobe's they drafted Jihad Campbell. That's just the reality of that situation. Dallas at his age, he's probably, he's going to be a 1-year guy, or this is his last chance to get multiple years with guaranteed money. And he probably wants to see if he can get multiple years. He's been in the league for 9 years now, and he's never been to free agency. Now he gets to test the market. So for people asking why they can't sign him before, that's why. Those are your 4 major guys.
All right. I'm trying to find my damn pen. I don't know where I put it. All right, John, let's do our last segment here on a Football Friday. 26 minutes left to go on the show today until a massive week in the NFL next week. Get ready, everybody. We need you here on Mondays, Birds 365, Tuesdays, Birds 365, Wednesdays, it's going to be a big week all throughout. with legal negotiating kicking off Monday, free agency Wednesday, and all the, they do have a bunch of free agents. So even if they don't make the splash signings, they're going to need the second and third wave guys, maybe a lot of them. So I think the Eagles are going to make quite a bit of moves next week. We will see what it looks like for the Birds. John, final segment here. I want to look at the Eagles free agents that are that could be leaving or could be re-signing. And I want to get your the famous John McMullen meter that we've been using all year. All right. We've used it on AJ. Let's use it on the other guys right now. Let's start with the big four. Let's start with tight end Dallas Goedert. Not somebody I think is going to be easy to replace, John, but there are options out there. Where is your John McMullen meter on Dallas Goedert and the potential for him to return to Philadelphia?
60-40 leaving. But I do think that's higher than I thought it would be at this stage. So I think there's still a chance. Obviously, the Eagles need a tight end. And I think there's a chance he doesn't have the market he's expecting to have. So I think there's still a chance on Dallas Goedert, but I'm still leaning towards somebody will be out there. There's a Brandon Bean somewhere.
That's very true. All right. Since you said 60 for leaving, my follow-up question would be, what would be the Eagles' plan if that comes to fruition?
Well, they're trade market. We've been talking about Michael Mayer. It feels like since he got drafted.
Yeah.
There's guys you can trade, guys you can draft, very deep draft for tight ends. And obviously lesser tight ends on the free agent market that'll be a little bit cheaper that you can get in that second wave. So you're going to have to bring in multiple bodies. I think they draft two. They'll bring in some undrafted guys. They may sign a guy on a 1-year deal. They got to remake the whole room pretty much. They could bring Kylan Granson back. I doubt they'll bring Cal Katera back, but they're going to have to bring in multiple tight end bodies, even if Dallas Goedert is back, most likely.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening with Dallas Goedert. 60 on the way out. What do you think his deal will be? Even if it's not here. 10 mil a year, or is that going to be too rich?
Well, I think it might be too rich for the Eagles. I think that's what he wants to see. Anything over 10 million, I think he's gone. Certainly 2 years, I think he's gone. And anything over 10 million, I think he's gone. Can he get that? Let's see if people are sucked in by 13 touchdowns. Or they look at the film and say, what is this guy blocking?
Yeah, but does every team want a tight end that can block great,
No, but as you get closer and closer to the entire league playing the same offense, yes.
That's so true.
Because everybody's playing that offense, which is one of the reasons I don't want to play that offense, because I'm not a groupthink guy. Then it becomes, how many times have I said this, Zander? Then it becomes who does it best. And you're not going to do it best. I got news for you. Certainly not early. Maybe a couple years down the road, if you have more talent, but you're going to do it better than Shanahan or McVay? Come on.
I don't think so. All right, John, next player, Nakobe Dean. Where's your meter? What's the number right now?
100% out.
Wow, hundo?
I know people hate certainty. 100% out. That's a great line from Zero Dark 30. You're not a movie guy. Great movie. You should watch it.
I think I've seen that movie. No,
I
do know it. I've heard good things.
It's about it won a bunch of awards. About when we killed Osama bin Laden.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. My brother loves that movie.
But they were doing the certainty. They were having the meeting about having the, mission to kill bin Laden. And they wanted, 100% certainty. But all the weasel, CIA, Department of Defense, they never talk in certainty. Well, 60-40, it's him. 60, just what we're doing. And then Jessica Chastain, who plays the main character, goes, I know you guys hate certainty, so I'll say 95%, but fuck it, 100% it's him. 100% he's out. Fuck it. I was going to say 95. I know uncertainty freaks people out. 100%. He's not coming back. You drafted Jihad Campbell. Sometimes Occam's razor applies.
Yeah.
He's not coming back.
I remember that line from Zero Dark 30 reminds me of, have you ever seen the show Billions?
No, I've heard good things, but I haven't.
Yeah, I used to love that show. I don't know how many seasons they're on now, but I did like it the first couple seasons. But they did the insider trading stuff, and that would be his way to ask his analyst if the inside information they had. He said, "Are you uncertain, or how? What's your level of certainty, or something?" And they had like a little code word, basically, of like, in other words, I know what's happening here. We're going to make the bet. So good one there. All right. So if Nakobe Dean's a hundo P gone, John, what's the? I guess you don't need a replacement, right? I mean, you got Jihad Campbell, you got Schreier, you got Munden. Yeah, there's no. All right. What do you think Nakobe Dean will get in the open market?
Oh, that's a good question. Because of his injury history, I think it might be a 2-year deal. Will he cross 10 million? I think he will. The Eagles certainly think he will. So I think somewhere 2 years, 25 maybe ish. Somewhere in that range. But,
that's pretty significant money.
Well, he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, just with the injuries, I wasn't sure, but
well, I mean, I'm not sure. If you ask me certainty on contracts, I'm not. I'm not going to Jessica Chastain you. I'm going to go 10%. These fucking numbers are. I mean, his medicals could be awful, and that's where my 100% certainty leaving could blow up on me.
Yeah,
because. If everybody believes he's not going to be healthy or he's not healthy, maybe you get him back on a 1-year deal, but fuck it. I'm going 100% out.
I like it. All right. We'll see what happens with him. John, next free agent. We've talked about most of them. Let's go read Blankenship next. Percentage. Where is it?
I'm 55-45. He's back.
Ooh, okay.
I think most people are not thinking he's leaving from what I gather, but I think the Eagles love him. I know Vic loves him. He loves being here. He and Cooper are thick as thieves. I don't think I think the Eagles take pride in finding him. It's an undrafted guy from Middle Tennessee State. I think that plays into it. He, leader of the defense, and you're losing another leader in Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think he's going to be back.
What do you think the deal will look like?
2 years, 20.
I think that's right on the bar. Yeah, that's right where I am too. And 2 years, 20 sounds good to me. I would probably do that deal. I know some people don't love Reed Blankenship, but yeah, the defense has been the backbone of the team, John. I mean, you got to be careful with letting too much of that go, right?
Well, you would think, but the whole point of this is because they have to pay so many of these defenders moving forward, the higher level defenders, the Jalen Carters, the Jordan Davises, Jalix Hunts, Nolan Smiths, whichever you choose, Jalen Phillips, Zach Bond, you already paid, on and on and on. Quinion and Cooper, it's just ridiculous. That's one of the reasons this is a retention off season, because they got to pay some of these guys. And I even mentioned Morrow because I don't think they can pay him. There's unintended consequences for everything, including drafting well, and that's the unintended consequence.
All right, good stuff there. Here we go with Jalen Phillips. You've given the number on this one, but just give it again for the sake of the segment, Johnny Mac.
4 years, $100 million.
And he's back in Philly. What's your?
I think he's gonna be back. I think he's willing to give a little bit. I think he liked it here. I think he liked the fit. He knows it's a good team. He loves playing with Vic. It's going to give him a little bit of a discount, and he'll be back.
discount. He's getting married. He's got a kid on the way. I don't think he's taking.
Wow.
Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. He's not taking the damn discount.
A
John.
little bit of a discount.
there
What's
is no
the difference between 25 million and 27 million?
Now you go ask Drew Rosenhaus that question, or Jalen Phillips.
Drew's got a good relationship with the Eagles. You know, he knows.
I'm saying no discount, John.
He knows it's better. Guess what? It's better to play 4 years at 25 million than to play 2 at 30 because you don't live up to expectations. And 90% of these guys signed, I'm exaggerating. That's too high. 50% of the guys who signed big contracts will be out in 2 years because they won't live up to the expectation. Look at somebody like Edmonds in Chicago. Actually, is a good player. He's cut. Because he made too much money. And he played pretty well.
Yeah.
Same thing happens every year. Third year, out. You know, I even hesitate. I said that's going to happen to Milton Williams. Everybody said no. Milton lived up to the expectation. He certainly did. I still would bet you a third year he's out. Still, even after that year.
I don't know.
Still.
You think so?
If I were forced to bet, I would still say, well, they'll, best case scenario is they'll rework the deal. He's not playing under the third year of that contract. So, Drew's been around long enough to understand that kind of stuff. Just saying.
That's true. We'll see what ends up happening with that. All right, John, who are the other most relevant free agents? I mean, you got guys like Jahan Dotson, Grant Calcaterra, Fred Johnson, Brett Toth, Matt Pryor. Anybody else I missed that's relevant? There are some other guys out there.
Well, the guys who would say there's a chance they'll be back are Braden Mann. Although, they might not want to pay a punter as much as they'll have to pay Braden Mann because it's become a less important position.
Not with that offense, it hasn't.
Well, yeah, it's still because they go for it so much.
Punt kings, this offense.
No, they go for it a lot still, even when they're ineffective.
Dude, sign Braden Mann. I'm not letting everybody walk and then acting like you're going to go back.
I'm just saying, people don't like to pay punters anymore. That's all I'm saying. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Dory Jackson, I think, could be back later in the process, similar to, 1 year deal. If they can't get something better, you could do worse. I think Kylan Granson might be back as the third tight end. 1 year deal simply because he's a good special teams player and you got to play special teams as the third tight end. Marcus Epps might be back if you don't get Reed Blankenship, which I think they will. And then Marcus will probably look elsewhere. Brett Toth, I think, is somebody you should bring back. We'll see if he can get 2 years somewhere else. If not, I'd bring him back. But you don't know. Stoutland's not there anymore. And then Sam Howell just throwing. If you trade Tanner McKee, which I don't think they will, but if you trade Tanner McKee, then you got to at least think about bringing Sam Howell back. But he'll probably.
I wouldn't trade Tanner McKee unless you're getting a 2. I don't think.
Well, I don't think they're going to trade him, but I just throw it in case.
Yeah, I do think it's realistic to throw in for sure. I mean, that's kind of what teams like to do. You draft him. What they draft him in the 6th rounder, I think. Yeah,
Tanner. Yeah, 6th rounder.
That's a pretty good return if you ask me. If you're going to get a 3 or a 2, but I don't.
Was he? Let me double check that.
Yeah, he was a 6th, right, at Stanford.
Because I got mixed up with Kyle McCord. It was also a 6th rounder. That didn't work.
That's right. St. Joe's prep guy to Syracuse. Yeah, that's right.
He's in Green Bay. Maybe, it's a good quarterback team. A good place to go. Maybe it'll work out for him there.
Well, what would be a potential suitor for Tanner McKee?
Jets most of focus, but there's a bunch. I mean, I think every quarterback has been tied to Minnesota, but they're looking for big game hunting. Kyler Murray probably first.
Why? Why? Kyler Murray fits that
Well,
offense?
they think no, but they think they're a contender. They're wrong. But again, they're not honest with themselves. They're just trying to placate Justin Jett. Let's be honest.
I know, but they just had a certain type of receiver, type of quarterback that won 14 games there.
Yeah, they should have kept him.
Why would they go for a Kyler Murray?
They should have kept him, but they didn't.
I agree, but they didn't. So now they got to replace him.
I actually
more Tanner McKee than I'd go for Kyler Murray.
Well, Kyler Murray's going to put up numbers. He's healthy.
Get it. John, he's one of the players that I do not get it. I do not get it. He's one of the few players in the league that I wouldn't want him. Well, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole for my team.
37, 39, 37, 38. High volume. People don't look at him that way because he runs around, but he can throw the ball.
Better have a 5'6" offensive lineman in front of him.
Well, I guarantee he's better than JJ McCarthy. I guarantee.
That's not a high bar to clear.
They're if from what I've heard there, if they don't get Kyler, they're probably going to go Geno Smith. And then if they don't get Geno Smith, then they'd be down to, maybe trying to trade for Tanner or Davis Webb. Davis. I get mixed
Davis
up
Mills.
with Davis. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Broncos OC and the Texans backup quarterback. I always get them mixed up.
I think I was wrong. Is it Davis Mills? Yeah, it's Davis Mills. Davis Mills.
Davis Webb is
the coach,
Broncos.
Yeah.
So, those are the two guys. There's some Jarrett Stidham talk too. Did anybody watch the AFC Championship game? I don't want Jarrett.
Yeah, that wasn't too pretty.
Yeah, I don't want Jarrett Stidham. But yeah, the three young guys who haven't played that people are kind of high on are McKee, the Texans backup. I don't want to screw it up. And
he was good. Texans backup was good when he was playing. I think he was 3-0 this year when he played.
And Jarrett Stidham.
Wait, don't you remember when Davis Mills had the full year of starting when it was? I forget when it was right after. Was it right after they traded?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather take a shot on a Davis Mills than a Kyler Murray or a Tanner McKee, to be honest. Yeah, I take a shot on him, but.
I think Josh beat Josh. I don't want to say it, but I'm happy you did. He says Davis Mills was better than CJ.
Well, he won all three of his starts, but there's some his completion percentage. I'm just looking it up. 57%. That's bad. That's really bad in this era. So there was some. I mean, let's be honest. If you're a betting man, I wouldn't bet on Davis Mills, Tanner McKee, or Jarrett Stidham, to be honest. But I don't want Kyler Murray either, and I don't want Geno Smith either. But, that's why you signed the guy who won 14 games for you.
Do you think Tanner McKee could be a good quarterback in the league?
I wouldn't bet on it. That's what I just said. I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you to bet on it. I'm just asking for your opinion. You mean you've seen him play in practice. You've seen more of Tanner McKee than 99% of the people listening right now. Maybe 100% of the people listening.
No, I wouldn't, Sam, I bet on. I said last year, that dude's got talent. I happen to get that one right. I don't, but he was the fifth pick in the draft, maybe third pick in the draft.
Right. Yeah, he was high.
He's got significant talent. Like Tanner McKee doesn't have that kind of talent.
Yeah, he was third overall by the Jets.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up a second round pick for Tanner McKee.
Who do you think ends up in Minnesota then?
Kyler Murray.
No, no.
Are
you hearing that, or is that?
Yes.
Oh, you're hearing that? Oh,
yeah.
Man, dude, they just They just keep making the wrong. That's not going to work out. I'm telling everybody right now, that is not going to work out.
I don't think it's going to work out either, but there's not a lot of options. I don't think any of them are going to work. I don't, they're number one. They want Daniel Jones. They wanted Daniel Jones last year because they had him. People forget. They not only chose JJ McCarthy over, I say this all the time, over Sam Darnold. They chose JJ McCarthy over Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and Aaron Rodgers. That's why Kwesi Odofa-Mensah got fired. Luckily, he got his old job back in San Francisco. I mean, that's the worst personnel decision of the century. Can you? I mean, they've only been playing 17 games for a short period, so I won't use 14 wins. Has any quarterback won 14 games and somebody gave up on him? So take that down to 12 games. Like, who does that? Who does that?
And then replaces him with just a not qualified guy because they drafted him in round 1.
And then he wins 14 again the next year and the Super Bowl. And you think you're keeping your job?
Yeah, that's a bad freak. I don't care what somebody thinks of Sam Darnold. That is about as bad of a look as it can get for an NFL GM.
Nobody in the history of the game has won 14 games for 2 different teams over 2 different seasons. Now, again, they haven't been playing, but even so,
yeah, right.
It doesn't happen.
How long have we been playing 17 games now? When was the switch? Like 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
I'd have to look, but it's been a while now, but not 5, 6, 7.
Beginning in 21. So yeah, this is
yeah, but that, for all, they're like fans, like all those fans they used to fight with about, well, Sam can't play because he had a shitty playoff game against the Rams. And like, that's fine for a fan to say that. That's fine. It's not okay for an executive to say that. He won 14 fucking NFL games in maybe the toughest division in football that year.
Yeah, that was a good ass division that year.
I mean, that's inexcusable. And part of the reason why, by the way, when this fails, I think Kevin O'Connell's on his way out, because I think he was able to, deflect it onto the general manager, but that only saves you a year. Now you're going to try to save the thing with Kyler Murray or Geno Smith. Good luck. Good luck.
Am I wrong? I think Kevin O'Connell's overrated.
Well, I think so now. Because I mean, he gave up pretty damn quickly on JJ McCarthy. They're like, fuck this guy. And part of it is, I mean, the tape was so bad. I get it, but I mean, you're supposed to be. And this, by the way, also another lesson for people that think coaches are more important than players. You can't go out there and do it for them. Guy can't play. You misevaluate. They fucked it up, man. They fucked it up.
Yeah, they did. All right, John, a couple minutes left on the show today. I want to thank everybody for being here today. It's been a good week of content here on Birds 365. We had a lot of great guests. We had Ian Cummings and Devin Jackson on the NFL draft. Mike Gill made his return from the Middle East. Brandon Lee Gouton was in. We had Jeff Kerr on Monday. We've had a good show this week, John, as we get ready for the NFL draft, for NFL free agency, and for the start of the new league year. A lot of excitement, John, but I also think Howie Roseman better get this right, because the ceiling is high and the floor is low. And if you're telling me Phillips walks, Nakobe walks, Reed walks, I'm not looking at it. I'm not having too much confidence in this team. I'm just not. I'm just telling you right now, if those guys are all gone and the contingency plan is drafting guys or signing lesser guys, I can't say I'd get excited. But a lot is up in the air, John, as we close out this Friday show.
Well, the floor is lower, but it's not low. They have too many good players who will be back. Look, I love Nakobe, but Jihad's better. He's better. I don't know why everybody's so
He's better at
against him.
some things. He's not better at everything, and he's not more well-rounded yet.
No, but it's interesting because he's the splashier player. So it is interesting how it goes because people love splashes right up until they don't love splashes.
Right.
Because you're probably right. Obviously, Nakobe is the veteran's going to, he's got the higher football IQ. He's got, the ability to, he's just savvier at this stage of the game. But Jihad's so gifted. Typically, that's what people want, but not in this instance for whatever reason. But I think that'll be an upgrade overall because I think he's that gifted. And I think they're going to get Jalen and Reed back, but we'll see how that goes. They're not going to lose all three. I will say that. I'm confident. Do they lose 2 of 3 or they get 2 of 3 back? I think they're going to get 2 of 3 back. If not, not probably. Things didn't go as planned. So we'll see how it works. Things never go as planned.
Yeah, they do not. All right, John, your final thought here as we get – will the Eagles – will there be a move that comes down for the Eagles before Monday? It feels like every team has done something, even if it's small. I haven't seen the Eagles pop up every notification. I'm like, is it Eagles or is it Eagles? No.
Like I said, when it comes to reporters, what drives Howie crazy, because he assumes that we should know more than the average person. So, and we should. But
he's 100% right about that.
Yeah. When somebody asks him about a specific move, like he can't hide his disdain. And, he'll go into, sometimes he's got more patience than other times, but, he'll go into, everything you do affects something else. Nothing's in a vacuum. He said that 15 times, at least I've read it. Nothing's in a vacuum. So everybody's hyper-focused on 2 days. He's not hyper-focused on 2 days. Like he tried to say, look, we got to sign, whether it happens tomorrow or June or next year, we got to sign Jalen Carter. We got to sign Jordan Davis. We got to sign Quinyon Mitchell. We got to sign Cooper. Now, they're not eligible for extensions yet. We already signed Zach Bone. We got to sign all these players. Here they come. We got to have everything, all the ducks in a row to retain our people. It's not just about retaining the people this year. It's about retaining the people long term. He's tried to explain that as best as possible. Now, it's not going to resonate with most people. He knows that. He said, he literally said, people love splashes. Like if we keep Jalen Phillips, it won't be considered splashy because he's our player. But they consider it splashy.
Well, I'll tell you what the opposite of splashy is if all of them leave and they don't have a good answer, or they start signing second and third tier guys.
I would argue that's where Howie differentiates himself from the Brandon Beans of the world, because he's always got a contingency, and some of the contingencies are things you're not thinking about. Trades. Could be. I saw somebody, put out, and I give him credit if I could remember, if they do trade A.J. Brown, keep an eye on Brian Thomas in Jacksonville, who had a down year. They might replace him that way. He's going to have some shit up his sleeve. I think the trade market's where he's going to surprise some people.
We'll see what ends up happening. All right, Johnny Mac. Good week of shows, and we'll have an even better week next week, John. I got a feeling we're going to be doing some breaking news hits next week, my friend. It should be pretty good. Good week, Johnny Mac. Enjoy your time with Tank. Wait, you got to give the people an update. How's life with Tank? It's got to be awesome. I just know it is.
Well, it's awesome. I feel bad for Tank because every single day is like shitty weather.
I know, man.
I can't wait for summer.
Yeah, Tank's going to be fired up, man, laying on the driveway in the warmer weather.
But we have a big backyard, so he's enjoying that. So, when he gets going, when he runs, if you ever seen a 60-pound bulldog run, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, there you go. All right, John, good show, man. We appreciate you here on Birds 365. We'll talk to you on Monday. All right, man. Maybe we'll get a weekend show, but probably not. We'll talk to you on Monday if not.
All right, see y'all. Enjoy the weekend.
Yep, you too, man. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen, joining us right here on Birds 365. Give him a follow at JF McMullen, #1 Eagles beat reporter in town. Johnny Max got a full day with Tank. He was telling me before the show, so I'm excited for him. Hopefully he enjoys that. Tank, nothing like it, man. I tell you what, my life significantly got worse when my dog died. I don't even say that as like I can literally point to the exact moment that my life got worse in the last year, and that was when my dog died. But I had a fucking legendary dog. I had an absolutely I know everybody says they have a legendary dog. No. My dog was the truth. My dog was the stone cold truth. He was the absolute GOAT. He didn't give a rat's ass what anybody wanted, cared about, except for me. He was my dog, and he was loyal to me. And he was perfect, by the way. You know, I used to go out in the yard and shoot hoops, and my dog would lay with me while I'm shooting hoops. And all these dogs would walk by, and people would walk, and they'd all bark at him. And he would just sit there and look at them like this. Just stone-faced. Just didn't even move. He didn't care. Once he knew you're no threat to my property, he didn't give a holy shit about you. Now, if you came on his property, that's a whole different beast. You couldn't come on Johnny's property, but he was dope. I was actually looking yesterday. I've been organizing Keith, he was only 8 years old, man. My dog died way too young, man. Way too young. He was a beast, though. I was looking yesterday. I've been organizing all my files because I used to have so many digital drives, and I've condensed it all. I'm using only Google now. So I got rid of my OneDrive and my Apple Cloud, all this bullshit. So I had so many old videos and stuff that I found the other day, and this was just me toying around with my drone outside. I found this picture. He used to sit up on this table. This was his table, man. I built this table. I'll show you the picture. I built this table, this blue table here. I put it all together, painted it, did everything, got all the hardware, put it all together. And that's my dog. That's my Bob. Me and my dad are. You can't see me. I'm back there. You can see my shoes, he would just chill there. Look, the drone's right in front of him. Most dogs get scared shitless. My dog's like, I don't give a shit about your stupid drone, dude. Keep it away from me. It's me and my dad outside smoking a stogie in the cold. Pretty good, man. I miss my pup. I really do. It's all good. I don't. You don't have to say you're sorry. It happened long enough ago that I look back on it and just am happy I had my dog. My dog was fucking awesome. He was so awesome. Everybody that met my dog was like, dude, you have an awesome dog. So loyal and just beat to his own drum, just like me. I loved it. So, Juan, thank you, man. All good, bro. All good. I don't know what kind of dog he was, man. I adopted him when I was in Alabama. He was about 6 months old, and he was a fucking dope dog. I don't know. Where I adopted him from said he was a bulldog mix, but he didn't really look like a bulldog to me. He maybe had a little bit of pit bull in him. He wasn't a pit bull though. He didn't act like a pit bull at all. I thought he was like a terrier mix or something like that, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it was like a terrier. I don't know. Somebody said terrier to me. Terrier, maybe like a terrier pit bull or something. I could see that. But he was an awesome dog. Really awesome dog, man. I got to get another dog. I'm telling you, my life got worse. I mean, I'm an introverted guy, I'm extroverted when I have to do my shows and when my business calls for me to be. But when I'm not in work mode, which is very rare, but even when I'm in work mode, but I'm not live, I'm very to myself. I don't need stimulation. I don't need to text people. I don't really care. So I had my dog. That was my boy. That was my homie. That was my guy. He would sit in my studio with me, lay there, watch me work, listen to me when I'm rambling about shit, listen to me argue. I'm telling you, man, if you're like a more introverted person, you got to have a dog. I'm telling you, first thing I do when I get married, I'm getting a dog. I'm getting a dog. I am getting a dog. And just like my previous dog, he will be trained to perfection. A trained dog is a happy dog. A trained dog is a happy dog. Disciplined and perfect. I miss my buddy. All right, guys, what are we thinking, man? What are we thinking? Free agencies next week. I tell you what, this whole thing about sign, it's a retention offseason. Well, what if we can't retain all these guys because people just want to pay them buku bucks? Is anybody seeing the problems I'm seeing, or am I alone on an island here? I mean, hey, it sounds great to say it's a retention offseason. Let's just re-sign Jalen Phillips until somebody gives him $28 million and you let him go. And then it's like, all right, well, now who's our edge? A draft pick? Same thing with Reed Blankenship. I see a lot of you guys shit on Reed Blankenship all the time. And I get it. Reed's not perfect. I'm not saying Reed's perfect. But what's your solution? Another Andrew Makuba? Really? As much as I like Nakobe, at least I can reason with, all right, we got Jahad Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least we got that with Nakobe. And I'm a kind of guy, I want Nakobe back. I wouldn't let Nakobe Dean go. No, not me. But I get why they're going to do it. So, Keith, what are you bitching about, Keith? Fucking guys always got something to bitch about. If I need to look in the chat and get somebody bitching, I just go right to Keith. B. Waddington, what's up, brother? I haven't seen you in a little bit, man. Good to have you in here. Waddington, I'm down in your neck of the woods, bro. I'm down in your neck of the woods. I'm down in your neck of the woods. I might be living down here for like a year or so, Waddington. Not sure yet. Haven't quite figured it out. AW says, Zander, whatever Vic Fangio wants to do. Yeah, I agree. I'm sending the PPA your way, man. Yo, Keith, I'm still pissed off about that 350. All right? Dude, it's funny. I was on Broad Street the other night, Wednesday night. I was driving on Broad Street. I'm like literally going 20 miles an hour. I'm like, these fuckers. They're not getting me with another ticket. No way. And it's funny because the whole day I'm like, I'm not taking Broad Street tonight. But it's so like muscle memory at this point. It's just the way I go to the city. I just go. I grew up 2 miles north of Broad Street, right in Jenkintown, right off Old York Road. Anybody who doesn't know, Broad Street turns into Old York Road. So Broad Street turns into the road that ultimately ends up connecting to where I grew up. So it's like, that's how I drove to high school. I went to St. Joe's Prep. I drove Broad Street every day of my high school life. And that's true because even when I was a freshman, my brother had his license. He was 2 years older than me. So he drove Broad Street every day. I used to call myself the king of Broad because nobody could maneuver the third lane and lining up the lights on green like me. Nobody could do it. Now I fucking hate it. It is what it is. Yeah, they do. They want you to walk up Broad. All right. Zander, no way you're a Blankenshitter. Wait, Pump. I'm not a Blankenshitter. But let me ask you this. Who are you replacing them with, Pump? We've been a defensive team for the last couple years, man. You think we're just going to blow the defense up and run it back? The offense is like 8 cans of shark shit. Anybody know that line from Sandlot? Or no, that's not Sandlot. That's Longest Yard. Longest Yard, not Sandlot. Longest Yard. See, I don't think Roll. I think he would. I agree. I don't think he got that offer though, dude. Rasputin, I don't want to talk about the cameras. Please. You're going to get me fired up. I already did this last week. I ripped into the PPA. Yeah, the thing that pisses, you know what? If it was honest, I wouldn't care. Because I'd be like, all right, they're trying to improve they're trying to, it's not what it's for. It's the bullshit city council and the mayor. It's the politicians. It's a fucking racket. It's not the fucking make Broad Street more safe. Bullshit. It has nothing to do with that. It's a racket. It's a complete and utter racket by the city council. Filled with a bunch of idiots. Whatever. Please don't get me back on the damn Broad Street lights. Welcome. All right. Cowboy flex. Eagle fans don't like when I'm honest. You guys better keep your eye on the Cowboys. The Cowboys had the number one offense in football last year, and they've retained all that talent. So if that offense, let's just say they're still top 5, and they use their defense, they got 4 first-round picks right now, right? All right, let's say they use 2 of them for proven defensive players, and they draft 2 more. They draft Dylan Thineman or whatever his name is. They draft a corner in round 1. I'm just saying, don't sleep on Dallas, dude. Dallas is right there. I know you guys don't like to hear it, and I know, Zander's the Cowboy Girls Glazer. Shut the fuck up and analyze the game properly. That's a team that could make headway. Another team that could make headway is right in our division as well, the New York Giants. Now, I still think the Commanders made all the wrong moves last year and put themselves in a shitty spot for 3 years. I don't think the Commanders are going to be shit. As good as I think Jaden Daniels could be in the league. I think, it's one of the reasons that last summer, if you guys remember, one of the biggest disagreements I had all last summer as the youngster on the channel with John and Cilio was on the Washington Commanders. Both of them picked the Commanders to win the East last year. I thought they were fucking crazy because the Commanders signed a bunch of old guys and thought it was going to work. So I am out on the Commanders. But I think the Giants with Harbaugh, I think they could become, I'm not saying they're going to be a contender yet, but I think they could win 8-9 games. And the Cowboys, if the Cowboys, let's just say the Cowboys signed Nakobe Dean and used that, like I just said, use those 2 first-round picks to trade for defensive, maybe they trade for Maxx Crosby. Well, Maxx Crosby with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Osa and Nakobe Dean behind him, and if they drafted that Thineman kid, guys, that would be a good team. Now, you can live in delusion land and say that they won't be, and you're right, they probably won't have playoff success because they haven't proven they can do that in 30 years. But wait, is that what Gargano tweeted or put out? Is that Gargano put that out? Gargano might be bullshitting. He's not a reporter, guys. He's a fucking talk show guy. Keith, what do you want to write down the fucking Declaration of the NFL? Holy shit, dude. What are we writing? The NFL Constitution here? What constitutes a good team? I don't know, Keith. How about how many games they can win? How about how good their offense and their defense is collectively? Fucking Keith. If you want to go to full, to be a philosopher on the NFL, I don't know, Keith. You let me know. First and a third, I would have taken that deal. If that's true, I would have taken that deal. And I've been a pretty pro AJ Brown guy. Yeah, well, that's what I mean, Rasputin. Cilio says it all the time. I'm not a reporter. I'm a talk show host. But Cilio has got fucking connections. You guys can chirp all the Sills all you want. I have seen the Rolodex, not only that he has, but also the people who answer him. Dude, it's pretty insane. Everybody answers him. Cilio is more connected than anybody we've ever had with Jacob. Hundo P. Now, does he like to sometimes maybe embellish? Yeah, he does. but he is connected. Here's Big Mike. Yo, Big Mike, how was West Virginia, bro? Was it dope? You gotta let me know. I enjoyed the Smokies. Smokies were cool. Zander, Couch Boys fan, run their mouth and party like it's the 90s. And then December comes and reality strikes them like a knife. Holy shit, Big Mike's going poet on me today. This dude, what's it? It's like a haiku poem. What's it called when you were in grade school and the teachers in English class, they used to give you like these poems you had to write, and they call it this one has they all have the same first letter, or this one has a certain syllables per line, and all this bullshit. Who knows? That's what Big Mike's in right now. Big Mike's back in class. Zander, I went to the same place you did in the Smokies. I recognized the view in that deck. You're telling me you were at the same fucking house? There was a bunch of houses up there, Shooter. I recognize the deck. Shooter, that's like you saying that the Pats are getting A.J. Brown. Shooter. This guy's Shooter. I saw Shooter in here earlier. We have all the leverage. Bitch, you don't have any leverage. He's under contract in Philly. You either pay the premium or you go sign Alec Pierce for $28 million. Take your pick, guy. Alec Pierce for 28 or give us the one. What do you want, Shooter? Give us the one or enjoy $28 million. Alec Pierce. Holy shit. Imagine your favorite football team paying Alec Pierce $28 million. That would be brutal. That would be brutal. That would make that Christian Kirk deal years ago look like a freaking bargain. Alec Pierce for 28 M's. Are you outside your mind? I mean, you got to be outside your mind to think that you have leverage. This dude, what is Shooter in here talking about? We have all the leverage. You don't have shit. You wouldn't know leverage if it slapped you across your chrome dome. Come on, man. Come on, man. Waddington. That one tree looks familiar. I know, bro. I know. It's like how he has a disconnect. Shooter, you're making up shit. Shooter, you know I love you, but that's pretty funny shit. Yeah, I know, Pump. It's like these dudes about to pay $28 million, Pump, and they're trying to make themselves feel better. We actually have the leverage on AJ. No, you don't. You don't have shit. In fact, if you guys don't play your cards right, Shooter, you guys are going to be back to irrelevance because you go from a fourth place schedule to a first place schedule. Now everybody has a book out on Drake May a little bit. I like Drake May. I think he's going to be a good player, but defense is going to catch up. He's going to have to adapt and evolve. Now he's got no Stephon Diggs. Who you relying on? Mr. Hunter Henry's going to lead you to the promised land? Alec Pierce? How about Jahan Dotson? Are you signing Jahan Dotson? Is that what you're doing, Shooter? This dude, Shooter. We actually have the leverage. You don't got leverage. He's going to get better. I agree. I freaking love Drake May. But, you need more than just a quarterback. You need more than just a quarterback, Shooter. I do like how your picture is Milton Williams. I love Milton Williams. All right. Your leverage is using a twig to lift a boulder. That's pretty funny. Patriots desperate. I agree. They're Twiz, it's so funny. Shooter's in here trying to – he's he's lying to himself until he believes it. You know the old trope? It's like if you lie if you lie enough, you start to believe your own lies. This is why I hate lying. If you're a liar, I don't want you fucking anywhere near me as a person. I'd rather you upset me and be honest than lie to me. Lying is the work of the devil. Demons creep in on liars. Liars. We don't do liars. Yeah, that's what I mean, Crowley. The Eagles have all the leverage. Shooter's got none of it. Shooter's got none of it. Shooter taking a shot. He had 4K passing yards and below average wide receivers in a while. I agree, Rasmussen. I think Drake May is the best young quarterback in the league right now. But he needs players. Ask Pat Mahomes. Ask Josh Allen. Ask Joe Burrow. Ask all these guys. All right. I do think Drake May is a stud, though. I do. I'm a fan. Here's Diana Rossini, just basically rebutted Rossini put out this today. The Philadelphia Eagles are holding firm on their steep asking price for A.J. Brown, while the New England Patriots have poked around on it. The L.A. Chargers are another team keeping tabs on the situation. 3 minutes ago, she put this out. While teams have been internally discussing potential trade packages for A.J. Brown, no team has made an official offer to the Eagles, per multiple sources. Yeah, I hate to see it. You better eat that crow when it's a 2 and a 5, and you better eat that crow when you got 7 wins and Alec Pierce for $28 million. How's that? 28 large for the greatness of Alec Pierce. By the way, I'm out of my home studio. I've got Dunkin' today. I'm sure you guys noticed because I drink Dunkin' every morning. I got Wawa. I went with Wawa. It's all right. It's too sweet. I just wanted regular iced coffee. I didn't want a bunch of shit in it. I will wear my 6X hat and talk. At least you're honest. At least you're honest. Yeah, Rasmussen. I wonder if there's a difference between like an official offer and like what they were doing because, yeah, Cilio did show me some stuff too. That's not bullshit. Patriots are calling, but the Eagles hold the cards. Shooter. Shooter, ready? Listen up, Shooter. You listen up and you listen good, Shooter. You ready? I want you to turn your volume up, Shooter. I want you to plug in your earphones, Shooter. I want you to listen to me now, Shooter. You will buy an Alec Pierce jersey and you will like it. You will purchase yourself an Alec Pierce jersey and you will enjoy it. You will love it. And he will get you 812 yards per year and be traded or cut in 2 seasons. You will like it. Here's a good question. Waddington, bro, what's up, man? You think Barkley gets this thing back on track next year, Zander? If he does, watch out. Waddington, I got to be honest with you, bro. I still think he's a good player. I don't have any problem saying that. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. Speaking of a napkin deal, Big Mike, I got a napkin deal right here. See that? You see that? I won't show you what that says. I don't know. Waddington, like, he's 29. How old is Saquon? 29 years old. I don't know, man. Just don't feel that great about it. I just don't feel that great about it. It's more the O-line, but yeah, I think Twiz is right. O-line health is going to determine a lot. Here's our pump. 1 plus a conditional 2 plus booty for AJ or Ravens package of swap 1, 5 plus Starks. Ooh, I like that. Swap 1s plus a 5th in Starks. What's their 1? What's the 1? What's their 1? Eh, 14, that's not good enough for me. I'm only going up 9 spots. I like Malachi Starks, though, because that obviously fixes a big safety need. And then you don't have to go back to Blankenship. Who knows, Crawley? Who knows, dude? Who knows? All right, I'm out of here, yo. It's Friday in Lent. To all my Catholics, no meat today. No meat today, Catholics. All right? No meat today. I'm doing a fat pizza tonight. Give me a nice pizza. Nothing hits better than a pizza on Friday in Lent. All right? Nothing hits better than a pizza on Friday in Lent. All right? Later, Rasputin. Appreciate you, brother. No cheesesteak for me. No meat Friday. Come on, man. Oh, fish. You going fish? You know, Big Mike. I can't say I'm a huge fish guy. I like it. I'm not like a seafood hater. I eat seafood. I like shrimp. I like crab. I love crab. I'll eat lobster. I'll eat it all. Clams, oysters, scallops, whatever. I'll eat it all. But like when it comes to being at home and you just like cook up a piece of fish, it's just not the way I, would prefer to go. I'll say that. It depends what kind of fish you got. Have you ever had cobia? The best fish I ever had. My cousins are literally phenomenal fly fishers. I mean, fly fishermen. They fly all over the world. They've been doing it since they've caught more fish than fucking most people, I think, on the planet. Literally. They're unbelievable. They went to a place and they go all over. They just were in New Zealand for 3 weeks fly fishing. I think they should have been professional fly fishermen, but they didn't want to go that route because they didn't want to, it's their hobby and what they love to do. Them and their dad. But they go all over the world. My cousin went out on a boat years ago. This was like probably 4 or 5 years ago. And he caught fresh cobia, big ass cobia. He brought the fish home that day. And when I mean, he went out at like 4 a.m, he got back probably like 4 p.m. Like when I mean he got back at 4, like he didn't even go inside. He got his cobia, he seasoned it, and he cooked it right there. And he was kind enough to give me quite a bit of it. That's the best fish I've ever had in my life. It's the best piece of fish I've ever had in my life. My cousin Skylar cooked up the cobia. It was fucking good. Yeah, I'm a salmon. Can't be me, bro. I'm on a boat and I'm going fast, and that's a classic. I wait every year. Our BGG. Are you Catholic? I didn't know this. This is good information here. Nice. Church serving cod. I cook a fire salmon. Yeah, I'm not a big salmon guy. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's so overrated. I like smoked salmon. Yeah, freshwater. Kimberly, you should. Let me see do my cousins still post on Instagram? Let me see if I can find their Instagram. S. Davis. Yeah, there it is. They don't post anymore. Oh, he posted after New Zealand. Let me see if I can let me turn this off here. Let me turn this off. And let me turn off. All right, that's off. All right, here's my cousin's Instagram. Look, and this is one of them. Skylar and Nelson. There they are. All right. These dudes are savages, dude. This is in the Bayou State. I guess that's what, Louisiana? Look at them. Look, they tie all their own flies. They tie all their own flies for the most part. Look at that thing. Look at here. These are his pictures this year from New Zealand. They just got back in January. They went. Look at that, man. Fly fishing out. Look. There's him and his brother. There's another one. Damn, look at all the animals. Woo! They catch some fish, man. These guys catch some fish. There's Nelson. There's my other cousin. They're brothers. There's them. The three of them walking. Look at that, dude. I don't fish. There's my Uncle Paul. My godfather, my Uncle Paul. Look at that. Yeah, it's savages, dude. Zander seems like one of them liberal. Nah. What are you wrapped up in politics to the point where it's the only thing you think about? I turned off my green screen. What do you guys think of my white wall? We not eating no tilapia, only the good shit. All right, pump. All right, pump. I only eat tuna. Tyler, I have my fair share of tuna fish too. In fact, before we get to pizza tonight, if we have a can of tuna, I'll be busting that open. Ready? Tuna, can of tuna fish, put some mayo, put some hot sauce, mix it up, boom, 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 pound it. Done. Done. You know, every time you eat, guys, it doesn't have to be to have the best tasting meal. Food sometimes is just fuel. That's all it is. Not every meal has to be, I need the dessert and I need this. This is how you end up fucking fat. Holy shit. You got to be kidding me. Woo! Sometimes just get a little fuel in your body. You know, maybe you could use it. Or you sit on your ass and you don't. I don't care. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I've been rambling for 40 minutes on Zander time. I am out of here. All right, guys. Appreciate all you guys being here. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, fuck you. All right? It is what it is. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES. Eagles.